Welcome. We're here at Housing Night in Canada. Fabulous season to get started. Spring market's here, right along with the playoff season. How's this market looking? We're going to take you through all the different price points and explain to you exactly who's in each brand, who's buying, and who's selling. So what are we seeing right now? We're already seeing a 50% increase in homes that are available on the market today compared to this time last year. That's a big increase. Big time. 50% 1 year to date, March to March. What's this creating? A lot of downsizers are entering the market. We're seeing the age group as young as 50 moving out of their detached homes and moving into downsizer product, whether it's townhomes, bungalows, or even cottages. The other big player we're seeing in the marketplace is first-time home buyers.
Exciting, very exciting.
Very exciting for the first-time home buyers. And we're gonna get into how they're able to make those purchases happen. So I'd like to take us across all the different price points today and see what's happening in each game.
Love it.
Thomas, where are we going?
Thank you, Sarah. So we're going to start off with the under $1 million range. This team might not be the most attractive number or team on the market, but is the most important. Okay, is the backbone of the market. But this directly influences everything moving upwards. It gives overall confidence in the market and provides long-term health in the market. We're seeing two types of buyers really in this market. We're seeing first-time home buyers, like you said, Sarah, and we're also seeing investors as well.
Finally coming back.
Absolutely.
Very smart.
The two main property types we're seeing in this market as well, under $1 million, are condos and townhomes.
That makes sense.
Yeah, great opportunities in both markets for sure.
Absolutely.
And lots of inventory you're finding in that sort of first-time home buyer up and coming?
Absolutely, especially with condos, Kristen, thank you. We're seeing increased inventory and we're seeing lots of buyer preferences kind of keeping condos a little bit longer on the market. They have a much higher average day on the market.
You can shop around a little bit.
I think that happens when those inventory numbers get a little bit high. Those people have a little bit more time to shop around, like you said. Go to a couple. No rush decisions.
No.
Great.
Where are we seeing the core of sales right now?
Thank you, Krista. So for condos specifically, we're seeing in a few different places in Burlington. We're seeing the downtown core, lots of condos being shot up. We're seeing in Aldershot more lower mid-rise condos, Tainsley, and the corporate area as well. Those are kind of the big areas we'll see in Burlington with condos.
Great pockets for commuting too.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's why we see a lot of first-time home buyers moving in. Lots
Young
of amenities nearby and lots of transit as well. And especially with the Aldershot region, you can take the go right into the city.
So it's been a hot market for sure.
Absolutely.
64% of the market in Burlington is your pocket.
Wow, what a stat.
That's the playmaker of the market. Right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Who jumps in next?
The opportunity zone, that is the 1 million to 1.5 price range that we're seeing in the market. And the players that we're seeing in this market are going to be your move-up buyers and multi-generational families on the buying side.
Nice.
And then on the selling side, we are seeing long-term home buyers who are offloading, whether that's to just kind of get their finances in order, make a bigger jump in the market, or downsize.
A lot going on in your price point.
A lot going on. It's a huge mixed bag. You can get a bunch of different product types in all the different markets and neighborhoods in Burlington.
And Allie, what kind of numbers are we talking about? Like how many listings is your team kind of running with at the current time?
Currently we're sitting at 122 active listings on the market.
And that's just Burlington, right?
That's just Burlington. And over the last 6 months, we actually saw north of 290 sales.
Okay,
not too bad.
Oh,
And
that's
how long
really
are they
good.
taking to sell?
About 31 days on market.
That's a good pace.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
a good pace.
not bad.
I think that, maybe there's a lot of opportunity there and a lot of development happening in that category.
We are seeing new listings kind of outnumber the amount of unit sales in that market. So that's why I think we're seeing people kind of shopping around that market as well.
What types of properties are you seeing in this kind of price point?
Like I said, like mixed bag. You're getting condos, like actual apartment units. You're getting townhomes, both freehold and condos, as well as detached. Detached is actually about 70% of the market of the product in that price point.
What are the sellers on your team sort of needing to do to stand out a little bit in the market and sell?
Yeah, they need to price aggressively. They need to stay on top in regards. Pricing is everything in this market. That's what's going to make you move.
I can absolutely understand
Yeah.
that. And anybody who can't afford or who's kind of jumping up from your market, we're finding them come over here to sort of that breakout player. Call us the overtime market here. So this is your best opportunity for a breakaway deal as far as I'm considered.
Absolutely.
I've got buyers shopping between that 1.5 million to the 2 million price point. And over here, there's just so much opportunity I'm finding.
Yes.
Not a lot of buyers coming along here, but there's enough inventory that it certainly can sustain, enough demand. So right now we have 66 active listings and 92 that sold in the last 6 months here. So it's certainly making a lot of movement, and we're mostly detached. So not a ton of condos.
Yeah.
We have about 6 condos available right now in that price point, but that's going to be for more of your luxury home buyer, sort of that downsizer who's looking for a bigger condo or a bigger space.
Yep.
And then on the other end of the spectrum, it's anybody who's selling your type of product, looking for a little bit more room. Maybe the family grew, maybe they're fortunate enough to have a promotion.
Yeah.
So we're seeing, our two markets are certainly
They
interacting.
play off each other for
Exactly.
sure. Yeah.
Krista,
Exactly.
do we know what kind of market share overall your players are sort of playing in?
Yeah, so we're actually not representing a huge part of the market right now. So we represent around 14% of the active listings that are available and only 11% of the sales right now. So it's one of those markets that is a little too niche to be super busy and crazy. But again, that's why we have so much great opportunity for anybody who's willing to jump up to that price point.
I feel like it is a tough zone to break into for sure, but if you can, the opportunity is there.
Absolutely. And the thing to remember for, buyers, there's that opportunity. So for sellers, they really need to be super sharp with their slap shot pricing. There's definitely some penalties going on over there when you overprice your home. And we also highly recommend, get your home clean and ready, get that Zamboni refresh going, and make sure that your home shows really, really well
Absolutely.
to all of the buyers, because that's what they're looking for in that price point.
I mean, I think we've all seen some listings sitting in the penalty box.
Absolutely.
They missed the boat. They got too
They missed the mark.
aggressive
Yeah.
on the pricing,
Yeah.
and they're paying for it. Sorry, they're taking their
Absolutely.
2-minute timeout.
Yeah, this isn't the time to sort of try the number that you
No.
thought your neighbor got. Unfortunately, you have to be super sharp like your skate and get it out there the way that it should be.
Absolutely.
Yes, you're definitely in overtime with your first line playing right now.
Absolutely.
That's right. That's
Well,
right.
I'll just jump in terms of that pricing thing. My team's sort of playing in the veteran players. So I'm looking at the $2 million to $3 million market. That's definitely, these are our players that are sort of up in the salary cap there, I think. And it's an interesting market. It's small for sure. There's only 47 active listings right now in that price point. And there's only been 38 sales in the last 6 months.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's quite balanced, I think. It's not being flooded. But what we have to think about these veterans, with sort of a bigger budget, timeline.
Yeah.
We're pushing that timeline.
So days on market is high?
Yeah, we're looking at 72 to 80 days on the market for an average sale. And really, when we're talking stats, sort of sale to list price ratio, this is where we're feeling the pinch. We're getting tight. The sale to list price ratio is about 97%, but it's only about 96% if we look at original list price. So again, coming
Big
out of the
movement.
gates,
Yeah.
Big
that's taking a big cut off the top.
I do find though in your pocket we're seeing less of a change compared to Krista, your pocket, where up to that $2 million mark we are tighter and tighter, but I think anything over the $2 million is still actually moving similarly to last year.
And I think that's, these veterans, they're coming in, they have the experience, they have the money, they're less dependent on this sort of younger move up talent to support them. They can really carry
They're their own market.
carry their team on their own a little bit, and so it's less volatility for sure.
Absolutely.
It's great to see it all move though, from, our MVP market here, kind of keeping everybody going, keeping everything flowing, and they're going to be moving up into sort of our categories, and then
Absolutely.
ours should be moving up into yours. So it's all so interdependent.
Yeah.
It's so interesting to watch.
The players that are playing in his market, that first-time home buyers, they're the ones who are getting traded over then eventually to my market, and then it's kind of the flow that we see throughout the game.
Absolutely. Everybody plays off each other. Everybody's feeding into each other, and you're providing assists as the market goes up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And sorry, just coming back down the scale, we're looking at some of these veterans that are looking to retire. So those are our downsizers.
So they're also driving
in
our
this
markets
sort
as
of
well.
$2 to $3 million market. They've raised their families. They're ready to sort of free themselves up for other opportunities, maybe play a little bit of golf, maybe buy a vacation property in Florida so that they can play some golf there, extend the golf season. And, you know, we're really sensitive to those sellers just, you know, needing to showcase, again, their property to the best ability, and pricing is everything.
Is there one example of a home in your price point that you just love and you think they really hit it out of the park?
You know what, Krista, that's a good point. One property I would say is actually our listing at 2557 Armour Crescent in Millcroft.
Great home.
Millcroft is a perfect example for sort of this veteran market. We're seeing large square footage, over 3,000 square feet for sure. You know, that's kind of what we're looking for. And finishes. You know, we're looking for sort of that Zamboni special.
Yep.
We want clean,
We
fresh
want
items. We
updated,
want everything sparkling and bright. And that's what a house like Armour can deliver for you. Also, community is amazing. That's going to play into value.
Agreed.
Triple car garage. Lots of things that, you know, we're looking at.
It definitely has the hat trick. It has all the features, right? It has the location, and it has the price.
Amazing.
Yep.
Absolutely.
How do we create a hat trick home at Team Logue?
Well, it starts from day one. We, you know, I think that we all know that we're looking at that development aspect. We're getting in there early. We're talking to our sellers months, sometimes years before
The preparation
listing.
is key.
Absolutely.
Preparation is key. Nothing's going to hit the market without the Team Logue touch on it. That's including, you know, consultations about staging, amazing photography, videography, all of the research that goes into these properties so that we can make sure that we share that with buyers coming forward. I think that, you know, as coaches, we're leading the charge here.
Well, all hands on deck too. I think
Exactly.
is super important, and what Team Logue brings to the table for sure.
We're a great team that way, and we have a ton of experience, you know, supporting all of our sellers, supporting all of our buyers. So, you know, I don't want to call us the Maple Leafs. Obviously, they're, you know, not hitting out of the park. But in terms of experience, you know, we're one of those original six, right? Like, we've got it. We know how to support everyone. We know how to make sure they get the right home and
Until the
We do love navy and white.
So it fits on brand.
Very on brand.
I do think teams have to be careful, and if our players are buyers and sellers, they have to be cautious of these inventory increases, right? Some of the fear that's playing into the market, and some of the real population trends that are affecting the timing of selling. And that's why we always make sure that we put together the best package possible and the most information available for all of our clients.
Absolutely.
Stanley Cup.
There you go. Thanks, everybody. It was a great night and great catching up. Hope to see you all here again soon.
Awesome, guys. Thanks.
Thank you.
Guys.
We're going to throw it over to our financial experts in the locker room. We're taking it off the ice down to the locker room to get some details on the financial position of the market and the economy. I'm joined with Scott and Marty, and they're going to take us through where we're projecting for this year.
Thanks, sir.
No problem.
Give it a whirl on tariffs.
Sure. Well, I mean, obviously, we all know about tariffs that are happening. Tariffs tend to be not long term, so you know there is some instability in the markets. We're seeing basically a correction happening, but at the same time, we're going to see lower rates that are due to that. There's some recessionary fears that have picked up, but again, the markets are still expecting that we're not going to see an overall recession. We are seeing some pockets of value in Europe versus US, where the US exceptionalism and tech has been hit a little bit harder, and people are starting to flee that area and also moving into bonds. So diversification is a very big factor moving forward, rather than more moving towards the tech space or the S&P 500 indexes. But we will see trends of rates moving down over the next year.
Have you been able to take away some of the fear for people these days?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at overall, you know, these are trade tariffs and they don't last forever. This isn't something that is going to be, you know, far-reaching. But the longer they last, the more that we're probably going to experience some sort of decline in economic factors. But that also lends to lower rates with the government supporting and the Canadian central bank lowering rates to support the economy for that.
And generally, the economy doesn't like instability and uncertainty. So we've seen tariffs come in and tariffs go out, and tariffs come in and tariffs go out. Now we're seeing they've actually been implemented. The markets were down today, but that could lead to, as Marty said, lower pricing, lower rates on the interest rate side of things from fixed and variable mortgage rates, which helps with affordability for clients that are looking to buy. So it could be a long-term win if we look at don't panic, keep your stick on the ice, everyone just remain calm, get good advice from your financial people, whether it's us or whoever you're dealing with. Don't worry about one-day blips in the market. It's all going to be okay in the end.
I think that blips piece is something that we're running into as agents quite regularly, where we have a lot of buyers saying, well, we're going to wait for the rates to come down, or a lot of sellers saying, we're going to wait for the rates to come down. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, I mean, I can talk a little bit about that. It's more the time in the market is always best. We do set up strategies for clients where maybe we start with bonds, where you're going to get a decent rate of return, maybe even get a positive return in this kind of market when rates are going down. And then slowly shift into something that is more longer term.
Right.
So, there's lots of strategies, just like, you would have on the real estate side on how to basically transition and a lot of lead time to do it.
And trying to time the market's a challenge, as you can't always predict what's going to happen. But if you're buying and selling in the same market, if you're upsizing or downsizing, you're taking advantage of the same market conditions. So you shouldn't see a huge difference in what you can afford based on day-to-day price changes.
And that's what we always ask people to talk to you about, is that gradient between what they're selling for and what they're purchasing for, and how big that can be to make sure that they're comfortable.
Yeah, and we can help with the affordability piece. That's our assist on the play.
Well, we appreciate the assist. Can you guys give me a little bit more information? We're seeing a lot of new trades in the market, and we're seeing a lot of new people enter the game. So what can we do for those first-time home buyers?
Yeah, so some great changes that have come out recently. We've got the FHSA account, the First Home Savers account, that lets first-time buyers save for their purchase. The RSP contribution or deduction limit changed from $35,000 to $60,000.
So it's almost doubled.
It's almost doubled,
Okay.
and that's each buyer. So if you've got a couple, they can potentially take $120,000 from their RSPs toward a down payment.
That's incredible.
The cap on CMHC insured mortgages has increased to $1.5 million as a purchase price instead of $1 million. And we can now do 30-year amortizations for first-time home buyers on default insured loans. So there's a lot of changes that have helped spur some activity for the younger buyers to get into the market. And as you know, once you're in the market, you're going to stay there. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think people constantly are asking us as agents the question of, oh, my husband's a first-time home buyer, but I'm not. What are the rules apply for us in that situation? And I always say, pick up the phone and call Scott.
I might refer to a lawyer.
Yeah.
There's some nuances in that
Yeah.
we want to make sure we're getting the right advice. So we can certainly help on the financial side, and we'll also get the lawyers involved to help make sure that we're following all the rules properly.
Okay.
And they're qualified.
Right. And for some of our clients that we're fortunate that we have a large population of clients that are downsizing and they're seniors. And a lot of them are asking us what they should do with the funds from their home. So if we have people that have only paid $300,000 for their house and we're now selling it for 2.3, they're often looking for that advice. And Marty, I'd like to lean on you for that.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, with that, we do deal with a lot of cash flow type solutions for retirees just to enhance their income in retirement. We provide free advice towards that, free financial planning and strategies that would find their comfort level and then basically build a strategy around the right cash flow and tax effectiveness for them on those kind of proceeds.
And legacy planning to get to the next generation of first-time home buyers.
Well, wouldn't that be wonderful?
That's another assist.
That is another assist. So whether people are looking for their first pair of skates or hanging up their skates, we can cover them from one start right to the finish.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Thank you, gentlemen. I really appreciate the advice.
Thank you.